Hayden from the Man in the Mirror podcast here. How are you? I hope you're having a good week. And this is your weekly fix of grooming, skincare, fragrance. And I have a conversation with a male guest about self-care, self-image, the man that stares back at them in the mirror. And I have a little rummage around their bathroom cabinet and find out some of the key products that work for them. This week, my guest is Rod Buchanan, who is a personal trainer, an online coach, and a brain tumour survivor. Rod trained as a dancer in New York and has worked with massive pop artists such as Kylie Minogue, touring the globe with her. He works on the West End stage. He then moved into coaching and personal training and has trained people like Jordan Dunn and Millie McIntosh. We talk about the brain tumour and how that changed things for him. And actually it's turned him into a really well-renowned trainer that really helps people's mental and physical well-being as well as his own. So I think you're really going to enjoy this conversation with Rod. He's known online as Bod by Rod. And we had a really wide-ranging conversation at his studio in North London. So here's Rod Buchanan talking to me, Hayden Williams, on the Man in the Mirror podcast. Here we go. Welcome along to another episode of Man in the Mirror. It's Hayden Williams here, and I'm joined by Rod Buchanan. Hi, Rod. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Well, thank you so much for hosting me. I've come to Rod's place, and we've got Rod and Star the dog, who's going to play a starring role around the table. But look, thanks for having me, Rod. And I read a bit more about your story online, and I'm sure it'll come up in the conversation, but it's such an inspiring story. It'd be great to find out, first of all, about your sort of history with how you got into fitness, because there was quite a big change that happened in your life a while ago, which made you kind of reassess things. I wonder if you wouldn't mind talking a little bit about what happened to you.
So we're nearly going on 13 years now, but I was a professional dancer. I kind of live in the dream.
And you worked with Kylie, didn't you?
Kylie, I did a lot of work with Kylie. That was one of the high jobs.
Yeah.
Of course, as a dancer, you take any jobs that pays the bills. So, I did dance for the cheeky girls as well. But,
And was that sort of TV promo stuff, or were you touring as well?
Both. So I did tours, world tours, TV, and film as well.
Wow.
Yeah. And West End. I started in the West End.
Did you?
Yeah.
In musicals?
Yeah, I was in just one musical in the West End, and that kind of led me into that's how I was introduced to Kylie. I was in the West End with Danny Minogue.
Ah, okay. What show was that?
Notre Dame de Paris. But not the Disney version.
Right.
The very depressing version.
And then you were touring around, and what happened then?
I started suffering with headaches, and would go to the doctors. After a while, would go to the doctors. They weren't getting any better, gradually just getting worse. And it took a year and a half, basically, of constantly fighting. And I did eventually get an appointment with a neurologist, and I saw the neurologist, and she dismissed me and sent a letter to my doctor saying that, I was addicted to analgesic medicines, because by this time I was up to 9 painkillers a day. A concoction of paracetamol and ibuprofen. And I said to her, look, I don't have an addictive personality, so I wouldn't be taking the pills if I wasn't seriously in pain. Now, the headaches would change from day to day, and some days I would feel okay. I always had a headache, but some days it was okay, and some days it was absolutely unbearable.
Yeah.
And this particular day, I was okay. So my mood was brighter, and she checked my reflexes. I think because I was a dancer, my reflexes were always really good.
Yeah.
So, but I refused to leave her office, and she said, "What do you want from me?" I said, "Well, a scan would be nice." So she set me up. She should have set me up an MRI. That was what she said she would do. Anyway, a month later, I went for a scan, and it turned out just to be a CT scan. And I've watched loads of Grey's Anatomy, so I know usually for an MRI scan you get the line of dye that they inject in you at the end.
Right.
So they did the CT scan, and then the nurse came in and said, we're just going to put a line of dye in your arm. And I questioned it right away because I knew that's only really for MRI scans. And she said, oh, it just gives us a clearer image anyway. So they took the scan, and then she came back in and she said, if you want to just wait in the corridor, a doctor will come and speak to you. I questioned it again, but I knew right away that there's something was there.
Right.
As they were running this line of dye in my arm. Whilst I was waiting in the corridor, this was at St Thomas's Hospital in London, whilst I was waiting in the corridor, water started streaming down the corridor. So the hospital, 2 floors of the hospital were under refurb. So I was evacuated from the corridor, and then someone had to come and find me half an hour later. By this time, you know, my heart's in my throat.
Oh my goodness.
My head's pounding. And a doctor came to find me, and they told me, oh, we have found an obstruction on your brain. So they don't say it's a tumour right away. I don't know if that softens the blow, but we found an obstruction on your brain. So they sent me down to A&E, where I was checked out by 2 on-call neurologists who check your entire body for lumps and bumps. And I didn't leave hospital for a month from that day. I was transferred to King's, where they specialise in neurology. I had 4 operations within a month, and that was my life kind of.
And was it suitably serious that were people talking as though it could be kind of life-threatening?
Not to me.
Yeah.
At first, I later found out that it was extremely life-threatening, and I found out afterwards. But when I was transferred to King's, my first consultant did say to me, you're a week away from death, because my brain was drowning in its own fluid. And by this time, that feeling and that noise that you get when you put your head underwater, that's exactly how my head felt the entire time. I could hear the swishing of fluid trying to circulate in my head.
Yeah.
The tumour was trapping it. So he said, we need to get you in emergency surgery to drain some of this fluid. And I thought once they drained that, you know, then, we're just going to remove the tumour and then it'll be all good. But I did find out afterwards that the sheer size of the tumour was the life-threatening part. And my doctor, who's obviously like God to me, a guy called Mr. Bangu, he had pulled in a second consultant for the surgery, a Scottish guy who I didn't get his name, but he visited me days after my main surgery, and I was sat up in bed, and he was shocked to see that I was sat up. And he said to me, usually when Mr. Bangu calls me in to consult in an operation, 80-90% it's not a good outcome. He said, so I always get worried when he asks me to come in, but I see you sitting up, eating. Yeah. So
thank God. And I suppose to have such a life-changing and such a dramatic thing that happened, did it change a lot about you and what you wanted to? I mean, I guess there's all the cliches of, you know, living every day and all that, but did it kind of alter what you wanted to do with life and career and how you wanted to spend your time so much?
The diagnosis made me sit up and think, what's next in my life? And I ticked all the boxes as far as dance was concerned. I'd done everything that I wanted to do with it. I was very lucky that I had some great people that I danced for.
Yeah. You must have played at incredible arenas and shows.
Yeah, with a dream of mine always to play, because I studied dance in New York. So
did you?
I thought it would be amazing to perform in Madison Square Garden one day, and I was able to do that with dancing for Kylie. I'd done everything. I ticked the boxes, and I managed to buy a flat in London from my dance career. So you think, okay, it's not going to get much better.
That's quite an achievement.
So what's next? As I say, I went into training just because I had these headaches. But then also the 4th operation that I had on the tumour was, once it was removed, they fitted me with a VP shunt, which is basically like an internal drain, because I had a drain coming out of my head, which obviously I couldn't keep for life. So they put one in my head. So it's a tube that runs from my head into my stomach, and there's a catheter attached to the end of that, and I'll have it for the rest of my life. But when I came out of hospital, I was obviously you're fragile, but I was very conscious that it's a bump in my head and you can still feel it, not as much as you could back then. But I think I was just terrified that, oh my God, what if I fall? What if I'm dancing, doing my pirouette, and I land my arse and I kill myself? Yeah. This is the thoughts that get in your head. So that was the main reason that I thought I'm not going back to dancing. I was too afraid at the time. Now I think that's a ridiculous thing to have thought. But at the time,
But it was all quite fresh, I suppose, wasn't it? And you wanted to look after yourself.
I just wanted to, I'd come through this. I just want to stay alive.
Yeah. And did you get straight into the Barre kind of training?
So I was out of hospital, and so a month in hospital, and then it was probably three weeks at home. I mean, the recovery was quite impeccable, the way I bounced back.
Yeah.
So it gives you an idea of how reactive your body is.
Yeah. But you were obviously someone that's fit and healthy.
I think the dancing helped it. Yeah. And, I didn't live a total debaucherous lifestyle.
No.
So yeah, my health bounced back quite quickly, and I started working in a gym in London.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was already working in a gym when I was diagnosed. I was working in a Fitness First. Mm-hmm. And so I went back to this Fitness First, and I thought, I actually preferred lying in the hospital bed. And that's when I had this real moment. It wasn't lying in the hospital bed that was like, what am I going to do with my life? It was...
Were you just leading classes then?
No, I was one of the personal trainers.
Yes.
And when you work in these gyms, you have to pay them rent as well. Now, I'd say my confidence is definitely built through the years. And I mean, you could always put me on a stage and I could dance all night. But face to face, I was never super confident. Basically, I'm not a salesperson. No, that's how it feels. Yeah. In a gym, you're a salesperson. You might as well work in a mobile phone shop. Yeah.
Have a sandwich board on.
Yeah. And I didn't have the confidence to be like, oh, let me show you what I can do. And I worked in this gym in East London, which is probably not my vibe either. And so there's all these like pretty Essex boys who had all the clients. Yeah. And I was just stood there thinking, my few clients are probably going to clear the rent for the gym this month. Yeah. And then I need to find the rent to pay.
You've got to pay your own bills.
Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it, that the salesy thing though? I think I feel the same. I don't. Some people are brilliant at, selling themselves or doing kind of sales type jobs. But you've got to have that front, haven't you? And ability to take the knockbacks and to put yourself out there. And it doesn't suit everyone, does it?
No, it doesn't. But I can sell myself now because I've had years of experience. Yeah. But I only want to sell you a product or sell you something that I'm passionate about and that I believe in. Mm. And I don't know if I believed in myself enough back then because I was new to the training world. So I didn't have the experience under my belt. So I wasn't convinced about it myself. Yeah. And I didn't like where I was working.
So what happened? Did you go out on your own then?
So I was there. I was continued to work in this Fitness First, and then an old dancer friend of mine who had moved to the States with her partner started working for a massive trainer over there called Tracy Anderson. Mm. And she had a client who was moving to London because her husband got a job here. So she introduced me to this American client in South Kensington. Now, nice. My client.
That's your postcode.
Yes. And I started training lovely American women, a New Yorker who we're still in touch.
Is she still here?
No, she lives back in New York. Yeah. I was training her one day and she said, have you ever tried Barre, Rod? And I'd never heard of it in my life before. I said no, and there's a studio in Chelsea. She's like, you should go check it out. Basically, I started working there.
So for people that don't know, and I include myself in this, can you explain what Barre is? Yeah. In terms of fitness?
So Barre is mostly body weight exercise. It's all resistance based, low impact, but high intensity training. Okay. So it gets your muscles to burning state when the muscle starts. If you do a repetitive movement quite a lot under tension, your muscle starts to burn, and then I'll ask you to hold the position and your body starts to tremble, and that's your muscle fibers breaking down and how you lean the body out and how you build strength.
Right.
So unlike a lot of strength-based and HIIT exercise where you use force and you use momentum to get you through the workout, a lot of Barre is definitely a lot of mental strength as well, because I'll just ask you to hold arm in shake.
Yeah.
And the sweat just goes.
And do you hear a lot of people just groaning?
They groan. I mean,
is that a good thing?
We call it resting Barre face. People get so in the zone and so concentrated that if you don't have confidence, you would think, oh my God, I'm doing a terrible job here. People just look at you like death.
Yeah.
But it's because they're so in to win it.
Yeah. And so then you ended up working for Cycle, didn't you?
So first of all, I was at Barre, a studio, and then kind of got headhunted to go create Barre for Cycle with a good friend of mine, Rhea. So her and I set up Barre for Cycle, and Barre can generally be quite balletic traditionally, and it can look quite balletic, but it was designed around the dancer's body to create the long, lean, balletic. So we thought, what would we change about Barre? Because to look at, it can look quite, I need to have dance training, I need to be flexible. It's quite airy-fairy. And so we thought, okay, let's make it gritty, dirty, sweaty. Let's get some banging tunes on, so it's all to the beat of the music, and we'll strip all the names. So exercises are called, there's a position called the pretzel position, and we thought these people don't need to know what the names of the exercise are. That just complicates it more. Yeah. Like yoga for me, sometimes I shy away from yoga because they
remember all the names.
Yeah. I just want to know what the position is. I don't need to know the name of it. So we never mention the names when I'm teaching a class.
How do people know what they're supposed to be doing then?
I demonstrate.
Okay.
I cue it how it's meant to look, for basically from head to toe. I cue where you should be feeling it, how it should look, what's happening during the movement, etc., etc. So, and then I keep reiterating.
Yeah. And so going forward to now you run your own online platform called Bod by Rod.
Yeah.
So that's a sort of subscription where people can join you online for various classes and either watch it live or play it back at their leisure.
Yeah. And the great thing about Barre is you don't need much space. And this is why it was such a big, got a bigger following during lockdown, because people were living in tiny cramped flats.
Yeah.
But you basically just need a mat or even a towel. It's minimal props. You can get creative if you don't have the equipment at home.
Yeah.
It's tiny weights, nothing heavier than 1 kilogram. And you're not jumping around. So it's great to, now we're back to normal life. It's also a good exercise that you can take traveling with you.
And did the whole Bod by Rod thing really develop during lockdown as well?
Yeah, big time. That was kind of like the launch of my own brand. And I would do a lot of classes on Instagram during lockdown. And, we were all in this depressive state. The world is ending.
Yep.
So during the workout, I would sometimes go into story time. Like when you're holding these positions, you don't want to think about the pain, the burn. So I would take people on little excursions, and my friends took me to Mykonos 8 weeks after I'd come out of hospital with a tumour.
Yeah.
They took me to Mykonos, where I'd never been before, for a recovery holiday. And as soon as I landed on the island, I cried for the entire week. I hadn't cried since the day I was diagnosed. You just go into fight mode.
I read that in your biography, that and it surprised me a bit. How sort of stoic you were, and the sort of the pact you'd made with your mum and dad that you sort of wouldn't cry in front of them. But it obviously all came out later on. But
yeah,
you obviously had a kind of inner strength that you could. Was that more for self-protection, or do you think to sort of protect mum and dad?
Definitely a bit of both. I thought, if my mum starts crying, then I'm not going to stop and she's not going to stop. But also from watching so much Grey's Anatomy. No, I truly believe that, if you're in a situation like that and if you're going for an operation, I think you should always go under, or, when you're having the anaesthetic and stuff, go under with a smile on your face. Because that's, if you're feeling low and you're feeling depressed, is your body really in fight mode? So I told everyone, when they come to hospital, all I want is laughter, smile and laughter. I didn't think, as soon as I was diagnosed that day, it was a massive relief for me. Like, my shoulders dropped. It wasn't, oh my God, I have a brain tumour, I'm going to die. I didn't think I was going to die. Like I said, I didn't know how serious it was more till afterwards. But I guess if you get a diagnosis of a brain tumour, it's quite serious.
Yeah. But was it more that knowing that it was being recognised and being dealt with?
Yeah, because by this time I think I'm going, I think you're going mad. And my friends, like my family, it's always, you'll be okay. Oh, it's nothing.
That's what we say, isn't it?
Yeah. And I was like, it's really not okay.
Yeah.
I'm so much pain. That day I was diagnosed, I was like, okay, let's just fight.
Yeah.
So I didn't think that I was going to die. And then got through it, went to Mykonos. And that's when it really hit me. Wow, what just happened to me? I could have died.
Yeah.
And that was my wailing from, I never died.
And sort of full circle then, now going to Mykonos becomes part of your Bod by Rod thing, so that you run these retreats to Mykonos, which sounds amazing.
So I started going back to Mykonos every year because, I said to the boys, I'm going to come back next year, when I'm healthy, when my hair's growing back properly. I'd put on some weight from steroids during my hospital stay. I said, I'm going to come back, I'm going to do it properly. And I ended up going back every year. And people say, oh, it's a party island, it's a gay island. And I'm like, for me, it's like, I'm not a spiritual person, but it's my spiritual home. It just it's the one place I go and I feel really calm. So I would take people on these virtual trips during lockdown, and then people on Instagram started saying, we need to go to Mykonos, we should go. In my head, I thought, okay, if I can do a retreat, the first place has to be Mykonos.
So what is it a big, do you do it at a hotel or?
No, I rent this amazing villa, absolutely stunning villa. And we go out there, we do 2 classes every day. You don't come on my retreat though if you're looking for a green juice and starve yourself and drop 5 stone. I think
you eat nicely,
you enjoy it. It's a very balanced, I like to live my life.
Yeah. And how many people would typically be on a trip?
About 10.
Nice.
10 is a nice number. 10 different personalities.
I bet.
Mine included. So that's 15 personalities.
So it's become an annual thing now, Liv?
So I'm lucky enough that I did 3 last year.
Did you?
Yes. And I've got 2 lined up this year. The 3, because I did 2 back-to-back in September, and I could have taken October off. I was exhausted.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, to stick to 2 this year so far. But I would like to delve deeper into the retreat worlds and hopefully do some UK ones.
There must be a rewarding quality to it as well. And, obviously you'll get to know people who do your classes online, but it must be lovely to actually go away and get to know people for a start, but see the benefits of what you're doing and form friendships. And
so nice.
Yeah.
Because most of my following was built up during lockdown.
Yeah.
So my retreats, I've had people come from America.
Oh, wow.
Fly over to the retreat. I have a girl from Switzerland. These people I had never met in my life before. It's a long way to travel.
Yeah. That's a testimony to your workout. So
I hope so.
And I'll put a bit more information in the program notes about Bod by Rod and your various socials and everything. It'd be great to find out a bit more. I mean, it's been amazing because it's the first time I've spoken to someone in the sort of fitness and coaching world. But having a look around your room here, I know there's some, you're a keen grooming and skincare and sort of fragrance person as well. So it'd be great to find out about some of your bathroom shelf essentials. So how about skincare, Rod? What's your sort of morning and evening routines?
I would say I'm not high maintenance, but I'm sure some people
will disagree.
Blow fully completely disagree.
Yeah.
When you see the products that are sat in front of me.
Oh yeah, they're here on the table now. They're moved.
Yeah. So when I wake up, I have a shower. I'm not fussy about showering products.
So you're not bothered about the sort of shower gels and body, like it doesn't have to be super high end or whatever.
No, like Xanax for me, if it's too perfumed,
Yes,
gives me itchy skin.
Yeah.
So I'm low key on that. The faces,
it's the thing.
face is the money.
It's the money.
They say. I'm not sure nowadays, but I am Scottish. In case you've not heard my accent.
And there you go, listeners.
Yeah, when I was a kid, my dad called me Casper,
a friendly ghost,
like
milky skin.
Yeah, very pale. I don't think it's even milky. It's like transparent. So I do apply. I wash my face and then I apply. Yeah, this brand makes me laugh. The name.
He, she.
I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I always just say
he, she, probably.
People say, well, what's your tan?
He, she.
He, she.
So there's a big old bottle of Express Liquid Tan. What shade is that?
Non-binary.
Yeah, totally. It just appeals to everyone.
It is medium for face and body, but I just put it to my...
Just on the money maker.
Yeah, down to the collarbone, because if you don't do the neck, then...
That's tide marks.
That's a shady look. The cotton pads, some of that. And if anyone does go and purchase this and they're pale, don't be afraid of the colour. It does come out looking like Crusoe B&Q fence. But you're sat in front of me and I'm not that same.
No, he definitely isn't. I mentioned actually, but even before we started, Rod has got a really lovely sun-kissed, just back from holiday skin. So it's the he-she is working really well. But yeah, not in a sort of obvious, my goodness, he's put a whole amount of fake tan on. It's a really natural, lovely colour. So that's a daily application of that.
Yeah, leave the house.
Don't leave home without
doing that. So that, and then I'll brush my teeth because you let that sink in.
Yeah, good.
Brush my teeth, and then I use a serum. Now I'm a big fan of Face Gym.
Oh yeah.
Do you know Face Gym?
I've not used it before. I've seen it around. I've not used it, but
Face Gym have stores where you can actually go in and it does what it says on the tin. It's a gym for the face, so it's facials, but like you go to a gym to exercise the muscles.
So it's a bit more vigorous.
Yeah, your face has millions of muscles.
Yeah.
So they exercise your face for you. However, they've got a lot of products now as well. So I use their Youth Reformer. Again, youth.
Keeping it youthful.
In the bottle. It's in the name. I use that serum to start with. And then I'll put a bit of their Hydrobound on, which so it's hydrating hyaluronic acid. Anything with hyaluronic acid is
good.
There for it.
Yeah.
And it gives your skin an instant brightening look to it. Then we finish off, well, not finish, but with the Face Gym, they have a vitamin C.
Got you.
Cream.
Like a moisturizer? Or?
It's like a moisturizer or like a finisher, lift wear, they call it. So again, it brightens your skin, and vitamin C is fantastic.
Yeah.
Your skin.
Yeah.
For my eyes, I love BioEffect, the brand.
See, this is a new one on me as well.
So they're an Icelandic brand. And this is their eye serum, EGF serum, which I think is fantastic.
Do we get bonus points for knowing what EGF stands for? Do you know?
And I know what EDF is.
Yeah. They're costing me a lot of money.
Yeah. This costs less than EDF currently.
EMF, do you remember them? Unbelievable.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you're unbelievable.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
There's EMI.
Yeah.
This has the...
It's a rollerball.
Yeah, rollerball. So you keep that in the fridge.
Yeah.
So in the morning you get a bit of a...
It's nice that, isn't it? That I've got a Heath one, but yeah, someone else who came on the podcast recommended the fridge thing, which is a lovely little technique, isn't it? Yeah, it's that cold roll on the eyes is good.
I have in the freezer the rolling balls.
Yeah.
I have them in the freezer. That is if you've had a heavy night.
Yeah.
They're a bit puffy the next day. Sometimes get them out. So all of those, and then sometimes that's me if I'm just going to the studio and it's not 100%. I don't care what people look, but if I'm going out,
if you're going out,
I'll put Kate Somerville.
I don't know Kate Somerville.
So this is, I think she's American. I want to say American, but I could be completely wrong.
I like that you're introducing me to some new brands. Oh, look at that.
And this gives a nice brightening.
So it's a sort of light green.
Yeah, glow moisturizer. So you can see how many times I've mentioned brightening.
Yeah.
I'm all about brightening.
Yeah. Keeping it glowing and up.
Yeah.
But I guess it's important as well. I mean, we're joking about it, but you're on screen and you've got to bring the vitality and the energy and all that stuff. So it's, looking good is obviously important to you. And why wouldn't it be?
I think I'm a big believer in first impressions count.
Yeah.
But also it makes me feel better.
Yeah.
About myself. I think it makes me produce a better workout.
Yeah.
Because I'm feeling good about myself.
Yeah.
And you don't want to go and do a workout with someone who looks like they just crawled out of bed.
Yeah, totally.
That's not very motivating.
No.
In my eyes.
But I think you're right as well in that doing this sort of that morning routine, that ritual, there's a self-care element. There's something about those sort of rituals which are quite calming and centering anyway, isn't there, I think?
Yeah. And I find that with the fashion, if you research some of the exercises you do, I find it can be quite therapeutic.
Yeah.
In exercises. And in the evening, so once a week, sometimes once a fortnight, Face Gym have come out with this, have you heard of microneedling?
Yes. Yeah.
So they have a roller with tiny micro needles over it. And so I do that. It's probably once a fortnight. I do that.
Yeah.
Watch the telly and roll away.
Have a little micro needle.
To help try and boost collagen and brightening again. And then I use, back to the EGF BioEffect. This is bedtime, and this is an advanced age-defying cream by BioEffect.
So this is slightly thicker then, so to leave on. Yeah. Where did you get? I mean, it's a funny question, Robert. Do you buy this stuff online, or is this stuff you're picking up?
BioEffect is sold.
Where'd you get it?
No, I might know the marketing director.
Oh, there you go.
But no, I think it's available in Harrods, but it's not stupid.
It's not silly money.
And what's the other department store?
Selfridges? Harvey Nichols?
No, lower.
John Lewis? House of Fraser? Liberty? I don't. Anyway, I will put links to it. And how about hair? Are you sort of tied to certain shampoos and conditioners, or is just kind of whatever? Are you less concerned about?
Redken or L'Oreal, the blue shampoo for my natural blonde hair.
Yeah. More brightness and shine.
It takes the brassiness out of it, so I don't end up looking like Big Bird.
And about what's your sort of shaving routine? Do you sort of leave it for a bit, or Rod's got a bit of stubble, a nice stubble. Do you sort of leave a few days and then have a bit of a clippers or sort of trim?
Every couple of days, I just give it a trim.
Yeah.
And I literally shave just underneath my bottom lip and my neck. That's where I use a razor. That's it. The rest, I just keep it tidy.
Have you ever gone bigger beard, or is it always stubbly?
Always stubbly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never had stubble for years. I think it wasn't until I was in my 30s.
Really?
That I started, and now I shaved it not so long ago because I had a superficial derma stamp, which is like microneedling.
Okay.
Where you look like steak tartare. But they advise that I be clean shaven, so you get deeper into the
pores and the skin.
And so I shaved then, and I'm not a fan of clean shaving now.
No. Well, I suppose once you've got the stubble, it just feels like a bit of a rigmarole, doesn't it? Sort of have to do that
every day, and it suits it. Yeah.
I think, it's just part of my look now. It's like my glasses. I wear glasses since the brain tumour because it was sitting right by my optic nerve.
So you didn't need them before, but you...
No. So the operation, and there's a tiny little bit of tumour left in my head.
Right.
But I had a treatment 2 years after called CyberKnife. It's like a radiation treatment, and that killed the blood cells around the tumour. So I will always have this.
I'll just leave it.
Little fragment, but it sits right on my optic nerve, so it weakened my eyes. So this is why I wear glasses every single day, like nearly 24 hours. Well, when I go to bed, but they are a big confidence thing for me. I've tried contacts before. First of all, I have quite sunken brows. So it took me forever to get contacts in. And I was like, do you know what? My glasses are, I joke that I will take my pants off before I take my glasses off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those frames you've got there, they really suit you. It's a really nice shape, isn't it? You found your...
Yeah. Which...
And I'm sure they're really nice colours.
When I first, went to get glasses, I didn't know anything about certain types suit your face. My first glasses, I looked like Ellen DeGeneres. They're awful. Like Ellen DeGeneres / your old history teacher.
Right.
Rectangular. And looked ridiculous. And I thought, where are they from? I think Paul Smith.
Right.
So I thought, they're fine because
that'd be cool.
They're Paul Smith. And then I had a Gucci pair, and then you learn, no, it needs to be the right shape for your face.
Yeah. So they're really nice. And what about fragrance? Are you a fragrance fan? Do you have a range or a certain signature scent that you go for?
My main one is Le Labo's Santal 3.
It's great.
Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Smelt it in a hotel reception 1 year and asked them what it was, and that was it. That's mainly what I wear on weekends. I used to have a love Joe Malone's Pomegranate Noir.
Yeah, nice. A bit richer.
Yeah. But then my scent changed after COVID.
What, actually how you smell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first time I had COVID, I lost taste and smell.
Right.
But that was basically my symptoms. I was fine for 6 weeks. It came back. I was absolutely fine for like 4 months, and then woke up and my scent had changed.
The things that you liked and
so
didn't.
Anything with protein in it. So eggs, when I was cooking my eggs, meat, fish, when I would drive past restaurants,
turn your stomach.
All, like a sulfur metallic smell. And my Pomegranate Noir and the Aesop in the bathroom, all stinking. Disgusting.
Yeah. It can be a symptom though, can't it?
Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah.
Changing.
It's fine now. Certain things now and then. And for a wee while, my armpits smell of rotten onions.
Oh, that's not good.
No, I didn't smell it.
No. Let's clear that up.
I did ask people. Have a whiff.
And but Santal did that
always been good.
Always been good to you.
Yeah.
Love it. It'd be great to talk a bit more about Bob by Rod. And what was it that sort of made you strike out on your own and want to do your own thing? It's quite a big step, isn't it, to move out of the comfort of a setup of a company or a salary, but to sort of say, no, I should do this for myself and be the sort of front person of it.
Well, going back to, I think, COVID was obviously a horrendous time for everyone.
Yeah.
But it helped me grow. I was obviously working for Cycle, which I still do. In real life, I work for Cycle, but we were doing all these classes on Instagram from home. And it makes you recognize your own self-worth and your own value. And I would do a class on a Wednesday night. We called it a dirty double. So it was 90 minutes, so 45-minute bar, then you'd have a wee break.
So the same people would stay for both?
Like 1,500 people.
Oh my God.
And then Instagram Live.
Wow.
So I thought, okay, I'm growing something here. I'm growing my community. And that's...
So people know you by name as the person doing this.
Yeah. And then when the studios opened back up, people who had never been to the studio before were coming just to say hello and to say thank you. And which was beautiful to actually meet people in real life. And I'll still hear, even, I don't get it so much now, but I'll be walking in King's Cross and you meet the odd person now and then, be like, oh, you got me through lockdown, which is just lovely to hear. It means, what I was doing was right.
It was making a difference.
Yeah.
And you so recognised the power of that and thought, well, I could do this myself.
Yeah. I just wanted to. It's like you're always, or maybe you're not, but you're constantly thinking as I get older, what's the next step?
Yeah.
Where am I going to go from here? And I just felt like I had an opportunity, and I wanted to kind of get to know my community a bit more. And
I suppose you can, when it's yours, you can shape it the way you want to. And though the classes you do are absolutely intrinsically about Rod and the stuff you want to do.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So I mean, I don't regret a minute of it so far, touch wood.
And you must start to, even though some people are virtual, you must get a real sense of community with the people that are part of Bod by Rod, and the people message you and get in touch about how they're progressing.
Yeah. And when we go on, so you go on my platform, if you're on there for a live, there's this chat stream on the side.
Oh, is there? So people can say how they're getting on?
Yeah. And they talk to each other. These people, some people will be in the Philippines and some people are down the road in London, and they get to say hello to each other, never met. It's just a nice...
But they've got this thing in common, haven't they?
Yeah.
Great. Which is, I mean, it's obvious, isn't it? But what a amazing thing that technology's done there, where, before, like you say, you've got to rock up at a certain location in a certain studio and it's whoever's there in front of you. But now you've got this platform and people can be at different time zones, different countries. And
I'm not taking away from real life classes. It's sometimes great to get that energy.
Yeah.
But I like to think that I bring just as much energy, because I've been on various platforms before, and the trainers you're just kind of going through the motions. They're just counting. And I don't think that that's the experience that you get when you come onto my platform. It's all the rainbows and unicorns are coming out. The fire, and even though I'm just stood here in my home.
But I sense with you, you feel that responsibility to kind of bring the energy and bring the personality into it.
Because I want to make a difference.
Yeah.
And like going back to fitness first, I am passionate about it now, and I love what I do, and I know that it can make a difference, not just physically, aesthetically, but exercise makes you feel better and stronger mentally, physically. And I'm not in it. I didn't get into the game. You asked me, why did I get into the game? And I didn't really know. Well, it was to just keep moving, keep active. But after the tumor diagnosis and as getting older, I'm in it for exercise as a lifestyle, and should be part of your lifestyle, to keep us young and healthy and vibrant and elevate our moods.
Yeah.
And I didn't mention that before lockdown, 6 weeks before, I had a hip replacement.
Oh, did you keep it?
Yes.
Yes.
So when I turned on the camera during lockdown, I had to, declare, look, I'm not going to look great when I demonstrate these exercises, because I was 8 weeks post-surgery.
And is that an old dancing injury kind of thing, or?
Partly to do with the brain tumour. I take steroids, and steroids, all you people that are taking steroids at the gym, you shouldn't.
Don't do it.
Steroids kill bone tissue. So they think a combination of dance kriya, and then I used to teach on the spin bike as well, and the steroids. So I have necrosis in both my hips, which is dead bone tissue on both my hips. Well, not the right one now, because it's titanium tilly in there. So my hip had collapsed, and I was limping around, like fitness trainer limping around for about a year. Thinking I just had an injury that felt like a groin strain. Anyway,
and is it all fine now?
It's amazing. Again, if there's anyone out there in pain with hip, and
deal with it.
No, I've met a lot of people that are like, I'm just too scared to get it replaced, because you know, horror stories, your granny having one like 100 years ago.
Yeah.
It's completely different now, and it's the best gift I gave to myself.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Brilliant.
My old one is slowly dying. That has necrosis in it. So my new one that's fake is much better, has way more movement than...
And do you think you'll have to do the other side at some...
We won't talk about
No. We'll move on.
Eventually, probably, yes. If I had a 9-to-5 job, maybe not.
Yeah.
But the job that I'm in, maybe.
On the podcast with the name of Man in the Mirror, you know, there's an element of sort of talking about appearance and self-image. And I think it's been so interesting hearing about your... the things that have happened to you, and obviously fitness and how you look has been a big part of it. And I wonder now, you know, when you look in the mirror and all the various experiences and, you know, the near-death things that have happened along the way, what do you think when you look in the mirror now? Are you happy with what you see?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm proud. You know, I've come a long way, not just because I had a brain tumour, but in my life, you know, when you recognise that you have a talent as a dancer, nobody tells you what the end goal is or how soon the end goal might be, the finishing line. And so I went to performing arts high school, and all I ever did was dance. So from a very young age, I looked at myself in the mirror, and this is a generalization and no disrespect to dancers out there, but I'm talking from my own experience. I was really insecure.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of dancers are, but it's from the constant...
But you're being judged, aren't you?
Always. Yeah. You're never great. There's always room for improvement. Yeah. And so I've carried that through my whole life, you know. Well, I know I could be better looking. I could be taller. You know, I could have a better body. But you get to an age where, I say when you go into your 30s, you give less fucks.
Yeah.
When you're in your 30s, everything becomes a bit more comfortable then. I think with what I've gone through, and yeah, I've just become way more comfortable in my own skin. This is what God gave me.
Yeah.
The ups and the downs, I deal with them, and I think it makes me a stronger person. An old osteopath once said to me, though, you're like a vintage car. You've really looked after the exterior to change the engine. And I think that's really true.
Yeah.
But I take pride in my appearance, and I'll be like that to my dying day.
But obviously, for you, it seems to me anyway, you know, the fitness and the health side of it, it's by no means about sort of the surface or just the sort of visuals. You know, you're absolutely about health, well-being, and that those things will make you feel happier, and that stuff exudes out anyway, I think, isn't it? Your, you know, health and confidence and all those things. And I guess you're getting, with your sessions every day, you know, you're looking after yourself and helping other people. That must help make you feel confident and that we're doing a good thing.
It does, but sometimes it can make you feel empty as well.
Yeah.
Because I spend my entire days motivating people, wanting people to feel better about themselves.
Yeah.
It's not a job to me. It's something that I do enjoy to hold at one. Yeah. And I want people to feel better about themselves. So I'm not complaining that, this is what I do all day long. But when you come home to Star, thank God I've got Star now, but you know, I'm a single guy.
Yeah.
When you can feel very empty.
Yeah.
At times, because
I guess you put a lot out there. Yeah.
And I'm like, where's my guy telling me that I'm amazing?
Yeah.
So yeah, sometimes, but I just have to remind myself I am all about balance.
Yeah.
That have a day for me or have a weekend for me where it's just all about self-care.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess, you know, friends and family that can bring the nourishment and support and all that.
Yeah, I think it's important.
Yeah. You are so right. Balance is everything. And you talked about, you know, the insecurities of dancing and that profession. How about as a younger man? Were you sort of confident guy at school? And in terms of, in terms of how you felt about yourself and how you looked and everything, were you confident then?
I think like a fine wine. I think I've definitely
Getting better with age.
I've gotten better with age, for sure. I wasn't, but I think the confidence when I was in school comes down a lot about my sexuality. I was a guy living in Glasgow in the 90s. Glasgow was a very different place to now. I was in the 90s.
Yeah.
So I knew I was dealing with these like demons in my head.
Yeah.
But I left Scotland when I was 16 and I moved to New York to study dance. And so you have no choice, like, to make or break. I knew I had to step off the plane and get a backbone.
And did that necessitate a very quick sort of, not like shedding the old skin, but you had to sort of be resilient and present a different version of you, did you?
Yeah, I think I was presenting the real me.
Yeah.
Finally, I didn't have to hide. It's not, I didn't...
So straight away, if you don't mind me asking, were you comfortable, once you got to New York, were you comfortable saying, I'm a gay man?
I didn't step off the plane with a rainbow flag, but it was just, I'm Rod.
Yeah.
And I mean, in my head, it's pretty obvious that I was a gay. I don't know why. Like, some people are like, I don't know, but I thought think it's pretty obvious.
But that going to New York allowed you to show the real you.
It's just not a conversation over there, like, and it's probably not really a conversation in Glasgow anymore, but it was back then.
You'd hope not, but I bet there's some. I don't know.
There are.
I bet there's some areas where it would be different.
No, because I would get a lot of it during lockdown on Instagram. Trolls.
Did you
start?
What, just insulting you and slating you?
Got it all, like, such like derogatory words. You poof, you this, you that. And
but why are they bothering? Like, why do they want to come on? I mean, I know how it goes, but it just seems like, why would you waste your time doing all that on a... Yeah.
I mean, they didn't hang around. I would say you need to give me more than that, because I'm a kid from Glasgow in the 90s. Like, you really can't. And then someone did say to them, somebody called me old, and I said, okay, that's
right.
Call me faggot, gay basher, whatever you want.
Yeah.
Call me old, that's just cheeky.
Not having that.
No.
And what are the things, Rod, that bring you joy and make you happy outside, you're saying outside of the work, and trying to kind of put back in some of that love and nourishment? What are those things for you?
Day to day, my dog.
Yeah, she's gorgeous.
She's beautiful. I got her at the end of lockdown.
It's made a real difference.
Huge difference. Having never had a pet before, I looked at her one day and I said, I didn't think I was capable of this much love.
Yeah.
Because her love is unconditional.
Yeah. And then also, I might sound ridiculous, but as a fellow dog owner, it's someone it's someone to talk to, isn't it? Without sounding stupid. Like you can bounce off. You're not just talking to yourself in a room.
Yeah.
There is another sentient being in the house. So do you talk to Star?
Too much.
Yeah.
And they tilt their heads. I don't know if your dog.
Yeah.
They tilt their heads to the side as if, oh yeah, really?
I get that. Yeah. We have this thing in our, I don't know about you, I'm giving you way too much detail now, but in our house, we've got this dog, Poppy. We've invented a voice for Poppy, and it's probably not that unusual. But she's a bit of a European princess, so she's got a certain voice. Would you have I'm not you'd have to do it, but do you imagine Star having a certain voice?
Oh, Star having a voice?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's embarrassing because it probably is just us.
Oh, I've not gone down that road. But when I speak about Star,
you do a voice.
I do a voice, and it reminds me of how my mum talks to her grandchildren. Oh, my girl.
Yeah.
How's my girl?
Do you get a bit more Scottish then?
Become very... yeah, roll those R's, and that's when she tilts her head as if say, I don't recognise this person. Yeah, but no, I don't. Star doesn't have a voice, I'm afraid.
Oh, God, I feel so... It sort of made sense to us, and it's maybe just a thing in our house. Fair enough. Well, Rod, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure, and thank you for hosting me here in the studio, in the Bod by Rod studios, which will, I think in about an hour's time, will turn into the Bod by Rod studio. And so I'll let you go and get ready for that. But I really appreciate your time. I'm going to, as I said, put some information about the classes and a bit more about how people can find out about Bod by Rod. But thank you so much. It's been really, really interesting. And thanks for your time.
Pleasure.
Thanks.
I'm really grateful to Rod for spending some time with me at his studio there. So interesting to hear about his work and the work that he's done before, but also obviously about how he survived the brain tumour and as it's turned it into such a positive thing, and the way that he's sort of caring for his own mental as well as physical health, and doing such an amazing job of it for other people. You can find Rod online at bodbyrod.com. That's Bod by Rod, BODBYROD.com. That's bodbyrod.com. And if you want to find him on Instagram, he's at bodbyrodpt, as in personal trainer. So it's Bod by Rod PT on Instagram. You can find out much more about the work he does and his the trips he goes on and the online coaching with Barre and things like that. So well worth checking him out online. I'll also mention some of the products that he referred to. He had a really good selection of products, and it was so nice to see them in person as well, because I can actually for the first time sort of take photos of the products and see them firsthand, which was great. So huge thanks to Rod. Thanks to you for listening as well. If you want to find out more about future guests or listen back to any of the other episodes, you can find more information at Man in the Mirror Pod on Instagram. And it would be great if you could leave reviews on your podcast platform of choice. That would really help things. So look, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Take care, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.